Good morning, everyone. Tanvir bhai, shall we start?
Yes, sir. Please.
Oh, awesome. Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you once again for taking the time to join us today. On behalf of VersaTech Global, I would like to warmly welcome all of you to this virtual insight session on strengthening cyber resilience with Sophos Advisory and MDR services. As you all would know, right, cybersecurity today is no longer just a technology discussion. It is a business resilience and risk management priority. Organizations are dealing with increasingly sophisticated threats, limited internal bandwidth, the constant challenge to ensure monitoring of threats 24 by 7 round the clock, and usually the attacks happen during the off business hours, right? So that's a constant challenge. So before we begin, a brief about VersaTech Global. We at VersaTech Global, work very closely with enterprises to strengthen their IT and cybersecurity foundation through advisory-led consulting, professional services, and managed security solutions. Our focus is or has always been helping organizations to reduce the risk, improve their operational assurance, and build practical outcome-driven security programs, not just deploy tools, right? Today's session particularly is designed to share practical insights. Again, it's not a product pitch. We would primarily focus on how advisory service and managed detection and response can help organization improve their security posture, governance, and response capability. So that's about VersaTech. We are 30 plus years into the cybersecurity business. Over 27,000 customers. We are serving them proudly. At a glance, what we are into, like I said, we are cybersecurity first organization. The network solutions, endpoint security and management. Wherever the data is, in a nutshell, wherever the data is, whether it is in endpoint, network or the cloud, right? We help manage them, backup them, secure them. Uh, or service capabilities, right? Nowadays, lot of compliance and threat prevention services are needed to the organizations, like breach simulation solutions, cyber awareness, right? The risk quantification, uh, the brand monitoring. Brand is the key. The brand monitoring and threat intelligence is something that we provide. I would not go to details here, but like I said, with this increasing compliance, DPDP, capabilities and all, every organization needs help, right? They need help because the threat landscape has been evolving faster than ever, right? The regulatory compliance, DPDP Act, we all know this. Resource constraint, right? So the quality, the skilled IT resources, there is a scarcity of those resources. Plus, deploying them to monitor 24 by 7 is a challenge. So that's where we come into the picture. I'll just quickly touch base on two important aspects. One is a cyber security. Like I said, is not just about deploying tools. It is also about educating our employees. Most of the attacks happen because of some employee clicked on a suspicious link. Like if I give you a very basic example, right? And how does that happen? Obviously, unintentionally, the employee would click, and that nowadays people are using AI, right? So hackers are also using AI. So they would make email read as legitimate as possible, and the poor employee who is probably not trained on how to identify a suspicious email will click on them, and the organization would fall into a great risk, right? So as per the statistic, over 95% of cyber breaches, it does involve human factor. How do we overcome that? So we at VersaTech Global help organization to identify the risk. We focus on the education and enablement of the human resources. We integrate that learning with their workflow. So then there is an automation, and then we monitor it continuously for further improvement. So that's on the awareness. Then on the infrastructure side, right? Every leader has this couple of questions, right? How do we scale our IT operations? It is not about deploying more IT engineers, more L1 engineers, right? L1 engineers, we just don't want them to fix the laptop slowness or the printer isn't working, right? That is where we need to drive the operational efficiency. We need to, use the artificial intelligence, which is currently being used everywhere. So that is where, we help organization to, resolve those L1 tickets, L2 tickets very, very quickly, simplify their entire IT service portfolio, and again ultimately maximize the efficiency, right? How do we do that? So there is a platform, right, where we provide everything in a one single solution, including patch management, remote access, the service desk, and all of this with the capability of AI, right? And it supports all the operating system, Mac OS, Linux, Windows. We will connect later after this webinar if anyone needs more information around this. But before taking much time, right? We are today privileged to have Mr. Tanvir Sheikh, Senior Sales Engineering of Sophos, who brings deep expertise in enterprise security, architectures, and managed that response. Tanvir Bhai will walk us through how organizations are leveraging Sophos Advisory Services and MDR to strengthen the cyber resilience and respond effectively to modern threats, right? With that, Tanvir Bhai, I'm pleased to hand it over to you.
Yeah, hi, by just a confirmation. Can you hear my voice? I'm audible. Can you just?
Yes, yes, you are audible.
Okay, great. Thank you. So, without any further delays, there is someone who has raised his hand. Mr. Jimit Boyle has raised his hand. You want to take this answer, or maybe we'll take it later, Bhaviji?
So, yeah, I missed to clarify that to avoid disturbance, everyone, we have, kept the voice, we've disabled the voice chat. So please put in your questions in the chat. Our backend team is continuously monitoring, and towards the end we will probably take all those questions at one go, so then there is no disruptions to the delivery. I
Okay.
hope that helps everyone.
And second thing is, Bhavi, by this particular session, I want to keep it interactive. Can the audience put a chat? The chat is
Absolutely.
enabled.
Yes,
Chat
the
is
chat is
enabled.
enabled.
Good,
Yes.
very good.
Yes. Team,
So
please put in chat and ask your questions. Absolutely.
great,
Then
great.
over
So
to
I'll
you.
just share my presentation. And just give me a confirmation. Is it? I put it in the presentation mode. Is it visible?
Not yet. Yes, it is now visible.
Great. So with that, let's begin. So hi everybody, good morning once again, and thank you for joining in. So as you see the first slide, attackers don't sleep, neither do the analyst. How many of you believe in this? Can you put a yes or no on chat? So let's keep it interactive, just not one way. I speak only. Okay, so just can you put your views on the chat? Do you believe on this? Yes or no? Okay, just one, two. Great, great. So you all believe that yes, attackers don't sleep, neither do the analysts. So I'll take you through, a presentation where I'll show you what the industry says. And I've also, kept something surprise, which I also never communicated to the VersaTech team is I have also put a live scenario of an attack which just recently happened. I think so last week I was involved in that particular case. So I've just pulled out some interesting facts from it to show you that this particular code which I've put is actually true, and that use case would actually tell you how true this is and why we push customers to go for an MDR and why it is needed. Plus, I have some services factor also which we have bought in, so I'll also try to cover that as well in my slide. So let's begin. Evolving threat landscape. So if you see, if you just go back a decade ago, there was a server on premises. For an example, we'll just take an example of a Tally server on premises or a NAS on premises. And, people used to use that particular server. And then from there, they used to do the interaction. Slowly, offices increased. Okay. Now, just take the entire conversation and relate it to the evolving threat landscape. So from one office, that particular business began to flow from different branches. Tally started to get used via VPN. So threat landscape is evolving means you started with one business started to grow from on-premises to different locations geographically, then on cloud, then in different forms, physical, virtual, then a hypervisor came into picture. Hypervisor is your Nutanix, Citrix, VMware, Microsoft hypervisor. Now, this is what we are trying to kind of cover here. Evolving threat landscape is your I3 digital footprint is increasing from one office beyond that to different offices in different forms, physical, virtual. Now, with that, if you see attack prospect also increases. Like now, if you have a vulnerability in a particular operating system or a hypervisor or in your identity server is not configured well, that's where these stages of attack would actually come into picture. Living of the land attack, a fantastic, example I have in the live scenario, which I'm going to cover soon, where you'll see an actual attacker. So that's not something done in the lab. It's an attacker who attacked a customer, and I'll show you the living of the land attack, how the attacker was trying to bypass an antivirus, what all tool he used. And fortunate for the customer, it never went to a worse state. We saw that attack, the customer saw the alert, fortunately for him, and he informed us, and we quickly took action. But then not every time, if it happens in a particular late evening or maybe off office hours or maybe midnight, we would not be available, or neither would the customer be available, then what? So, this particular thing, just hold your thoughts for some time. I'll cover this. But this is also being validated by Sophos. So we every year get an active advisory report where we tell the customers that, what we see as a lab. So Sophos has its own threat intel lab. So in our lab, what do we see? And that's where we cover here. So you see here that we say that the ransomware attack, 63% of ransomware attack use legitimate credential. So earlier the attacker used to get into a network, exploit a vulnerability, right? But now the entire game has changed. Now they put you a phishing email. Once the phishing email is there, the user puts his credential, maybe for an XYZ reason. It could be an Amazon coupon or a file. They try to use different techniques. Once the credential is leaked, now the attacker has a proper key to your door, and he uses that and he insert. That's what you see. 63% attackers use a valid credentials, get into your network, and then launch the ransomware. And this attack, which I'm going to show you, that is also the similar use case. The attacker got the credential, he logged into a server with a remote desktop from a computer, and from there he was launching this attack. Cyber resource constraint. How many of you actually believe that this is true? Maybe you can relate it to your business as well, that your business is growing, you see that there is a need of more sophisticated people, maybe in cybersecurity, or an administrator for Active Directory, or any tool which you use. Or as Bhaveji mentioned on the agentic AI tool, that's again a need of the hour. So how many of you agree that there is a resource crunch? You can put it on the chat, yes or no. Because unless until you are not convinced, you would not actually go for these services. So I just want to see that what is your take on this. Do you agree that there is a resource crunch? And this is all validated by some data. Okay, so after this I'll also show you that data, and I have seen that as well. So when I meet customers, there are customers who have a good team, there are customers who have a single person driving the entire organization, from a VC to the email. Everything is managed by a single person, so everything, desktop, laptops, Active Directory, email security, antivirus, firewall, all done by a single person, right? So correct, you all agree, right? That's true. So if you see here, number one is our IT persons are overloaded. We all agree, right? I meet customers of different size, from 10 to 10,000. All are actually crying for resources. They say that, yes, there is a problem, and they back up to a partner for that the partner would, help them. And that's what the partner are there. But then again, what about some SMEs required for cybersecurity related attack? That's what we are talking now here, that if there is a cybersecurity incident and attack, a partner would be able to help you, but you need an expert who are trained to actually help you with these type of sophisticated attack. And for that, you need a team who's expert, who's available 24 by 7, and are quick to response when they see anything, something similar to a cyber attack. And I don't know why. So if you see here, what we have seen in our report is that ransomware attack usually takes during business, not it happens during normal business hours. And that's what we have seen in the report, that the attackers see for your time zone. They see that what is your business hours, and they usually tend to launch this attack outside your normal business hours, or maybe during some big season of vacations like Christmas or maybe Diwali in India. So they know that each region has their own regional uh, holidays, or maybe they go for a vacation. So that's when they plan an attack, and that's what we saw in this report, that the attacks are usually happening during outside normal business hours. So this is part of the report. You can, this report is available online. You can look at this report on sophos.com. Tools. Now, what we do, as a customer, that for every problem you buy a tool, which is good. Yes, it's needed. But then just think of something that, every tool works independently. There is no correlation for that. And the problem is they all work in silos. Number one. Number two is management. Skills to manage that tool. Alerts generated from the tool should be managed well. So that's where you get overburdened. So the regular activities what you do, that's going on with an addition to new tool which you feel is there to help you. But then there is a human intervention still required. And in every cybersecurity tool you go for, other than services, every tool needs a human intervention. You can go for a DLP, you can go for a firewall, you can go for an antivirus, you can go for any tool you think of, okay, which is there to protect you. Yes, it is there to protect you, but a human needs to drive it. The human needs the expertise to configure it. And that's what we are trying to tell you here, that yes, you buy tools which are needed for business, but then what if there is any security event generated, how you would, know that. And we have seen certain customers that, there was an IT guy who was managing the particular tool well, but then as he moved out of the organization, then they started to suffer to understand what the tool is, configuration management, what was configured previously, because there was no proper handover. These are some, teething issues which you would agree that there is there with all the organizations. So number one issue also is that tools, security tools, you buy tools. Sorry, it's actually, so we were, so yeah, we were here. So you buy tools, but then problems with the tool is just tools would not help. And that's what, Gartner says, that in an average, every organization has around, 10 to 50 security vendors. Okay. And every vendors, would have around their tools, and you would have around 60 to 70 tools. This is what, was in the Gartner's report, Simplified Cybersecurity. If you see the report name with the platform consolidation framework in March 2024, that every organization has around 15 vendors, and out of that, there are around 60 to 70 tools. Just imagine 60 to 70 tools. Now just calculate the alerts, management, configuration. It's a big task, mammoth task for an organization to manage this. Now we would relate this entire thing with a live scenario of an attack. So I'm going to show you an attack. Unfortunately, because of privacy, I cannot show you the dashboard of the customers, but I have taken certain important artifacts from that particular attack, which can be a lesson for a customer, that if this happens to us, are we prepared? That's a question which I'm going to maybe ask you once I complete, and I'll show you how are you monitoring these attacks. So let's start with it. So very good thing is in our Sophos Central dashboard. So what you see at the background is the Sophos Central dashboard. And if any human attack, what we see in an organization, human attack means a hands-on keyboard attack. That means an attacker is actually having an access to your computer and he's trying to launch an attack. And that's what we see here. And based on that, the Sophos Central identifies there is a human on the computer, a human attacker on the computer trying different techniques, and using that techniques, he's trying to disrupt the particular machine so that he can go to a higher level and, can maybe the last stage of every attack we know is a ransomware. That's what he's trying to do. So trying to gain control of the computer. So we give you an alert. This is called a critical attack warning, where we see an attack is happening on not only one, but few computers with a similar technique. And we throw an alert on the dashboard. So as you log in on the dashboard, this thing pops up. Now here you see, the attack details. Okay, here you can contact your partner, and the last you can contact our incident responder. This is a paid services for a customer who are under attack. If you are not using and managed services. If you're using a managed services, this stage you would never come. But if you're not using a managed services and you are managing the tool by yourself, this is what you would see. And you can call the Sophos incident response team or your partner, or you can also view the attack and use the tool if you have the expertise to, mitigate it. So this is what you see. Then it tells you that what all attack techniques the attacker actually use in your environment. So if you see this particular attack, it's a recent attack a few days back, started on January 8th. And if you see this, these are some techniques which the attacker was using. So if you remember that second slide where it spoke about living of the land attack. So what actually that means is that the attacker would use native tools on your machine. They'll not download anything, but they'll use that tool to disrupt the operating system and the antivirus. There are some interesting fact which I would like to cover, but just keep in mind IOBIT and Cobalt Strike, and just hold it for some time. When I go on the next slide, I'll show you this, that how the attacker was trying to uninstall the antivirus. Cobalt Strike is a software which usually the adversaries use to disrupt your system and the antivirus. So the attacker was trying different ways and means to disrupt the antivirus, but somehow we have a very good feature which is called an adaptive attack protection. When we see these type of attack happening, we put our shield up. Now, what that shield up means that we would put aggressive scanning policies on that particular computer, because at that point of time we see the machine is under attack and we try to protect that computer from an attacker. So that's what it is. But what I'm trying to tell you here is MITRE techniques. You can see here the attacker is trying to use different means and ways to download payloads, disrupt the machine, execute payloads, uninstall antivirus, do lateral communication, download a tool which could disrupt that particular, Sophos, so that, he can go to the next step and, maybe encrypt the entire machine. So now here, if you see this, just let me know.
Tanvir bhai,
Yeah.
just a quick question. I mean, it's an interesting question from Mr. Bharat. So he's asking, these tools work on premise or are they on cloud?
So this is an agent which is installed on the machine. Okay. But the management console is on cloud. So what you saw, the snapshots, these snapshots were seen on the management console. Now, as you know, all the OEMs have moved their management console on cloud. So whatever investigation on the snapshot, what you saw was all used, were all derived from a cloud managed console. Okay, but these agents were installed on the machines which are installed on premises. So you will have a server or a desktop or an endpoint or a virtual server or a server on the cloud, wherever it can be. Our agent can install on any supporting antivirus operating systems, and that's how then we start collecting these artifacts of an attack. Hope that answers your question, Mr. Bharat. Bharat asked it, right?
Yeah, that is correct.
Good. Great. So now if you see, this is an interesting thing which I wanted to show you. So just, if you're not able to see, just let me know. I'll zoom it, in the comment. So if you see this particular payloads, these are the techniques. So this one, what you saw, the attacker started his attack on 29 December. Okay. And he downloaded a software called IOBIT uninstaller. Now this IOBIT uninstaller is a software to remove softwares which are cannot be uninstalled. Okay. It forcefully uninstalls the software. Now, when I say software, antivirus is also a software, correct? So the attacker used this, but the good thing is, as he downloaded, we detected as a PU. PU is a potential unwanted application. So we detected that as a, unwanted application and we cleaned it up. But just think of things that they use a legitimate software. He's using this is a legitimate software. Okay, you can also install it, and he downloaded that software, tried to uninstall, didn't work. Now, see, an interesting thing is he's now using CMD. So if you just recollect on the living of the land attack tool, now if you see the entire sequence here, he's using CMD to execute command. Okay, and if you see a particular IP, I have not, put I have not blurred it. You can actually check. So this all CNCs are down now. So he was trying to download a payload from a computer, and that payload was Cobalt Strike. So if you see here, it was a Cobalt Strike. He tried all different means and ways using different techniques. The curl is a command. So it's like when you browse on browser, right? The same way you can use curl in CLI to browse a particular URL. So he used all the means and ways, PowerShell, curl, CMD, in all techniques he used to download, but everything was, protected for the antivirus. But again, that doesn't mean that the tools are good. We all know humans are intelligent than machines, right? This is one way we can hold the attacker for a longer time, but there will be one point that this particular thing would always get. You would all agree that no tools can give you 100% protection. That's where a human needs a human to get isolate and compromise. So when this thing came up, we came into picture, we isolated the computer, and then that's how we started to mitigate. But what if, this happened sometime, late night, and it would have been worse? What if, that could happen? And that's where you need a particular services. What, we always enforce our customer to go for is an MDR services. So let's speak about the Sophos MDR. So the reason why, I put that is to show you that it can go worse. Now, this particular customer, when we initially reached out and we were positioning MDR to him, he said, no, no, we'll manage the, dashboard and all. It was just a year back, when we spoke to customer. Now he's approaching us and he wants an MDR because he has seen that what has happened. Tool was able to protect. Fortunate for him, they saw the, alerts on time, and that's now where he's speaking with us on MDR. So we are now discussing on MDR. But my question is, why to wait for these type of situations, when you know that it can go to a level where it is not controllable, your business can go down, and end of the day, when there is a business downtime, you are answerable. It's better if you know something is there available now. Okay, and at this particular situation where we see customers are getting attacked, no customers would be spared somehow or the other via SaaS application or a misconfiguration, or by not patching your servers for maybe some reason, or you're using some legacy operating system because the business requires that. There are multiple doors open for an attacker to come into a network, and that's where we always tell our customers that be prepared, have something. It's like you have a fire alarm in your office, right? You don't know it'll trigger or you will ever use it, right? But you still have an fire alarm. You have all the equipment, so that if there is a fire, you have something to protect. You do a drill, right? You do a drill. If there is a fire, how will exit? The same way, this is, if there is a attack, you should be prepared. But the unfortunate part is none of the customers think that if there is an attack, they'll think, okay, agar jab hoga tab dekhenge, which is a wrong approach. So I'll not go through the quote. You must have read it. So just to give you this, strength of how we operate and how the Sophos MDR works. So 35,000 plus customers only for the particular services, the Sophos MDR. We have our SOC services running globally. So you can say around 7 to 8. Sorry, not 7. It's 9. Okay, services across the globe. 2 services running simultaneously just for an DCDR kind of an availability for our team. So this is how we operate. Daily, you see 1,000 plus incident. We see advanced attack we stop globally. So our team are equipped. They know what's happening globally for different verticals. You would have a question, but what if it's for manufacturing? What if it's for pharma? What if for XYZ vertical? Yes, we are trained. We are having a team who looks at every vertical, what's happening. End of the day, the intention, the techniques are the same, or the only thing which they try to intervene is on the attack for different applications. That where the experience plays for our threat actors. Trusted by industry. So this services is not because Sophos or VersaTech says that it is good, but the industry leaders are also validated it. Forresters, MITRE, Gartner Peer Insight is where customers like you put, your valuable feedback. So everyone, rated us as good. And services is something, where if a customer rates you good in services, that means you are delivering what is expected by the customer. And that's what the Gartner Peer Insight rating is a value add for us, Sophos. So how do we actually, churn this entire story of detection investigation? How the AI builds into uh, the MDR detection? So if you see here, this is how we operate. Daily, we get a terabytes of threat telemetry. So it is from customers. Sophos has an OEM business. So from there, again, we get the telemetry and entire telemetry which you see in the pipeline. We make sure that we make our AI learn every day. Behavior engine, we make our AV, AI, everything learned which is good, what is bad, and based on that, it identifies. And if you see here, from 23 terabytes to 231 attacks stop single day, that means the entire churning of removing the noise out of what is not required is done by the AI, which is inbuilt to the Sophos Central dashboard, and that's how it works and makes the life easier from an analyst point of view, so that whenever they see an attack which is coming, they just know that this is the needle. They don't so the says that needle in a haystack, right? They wherein it will take time, but we know where the needle is, so we don't care of the haystack. And that's where this particular pipeline churns from 23 terabytes to 231. They know the precise attacks techniques which they need to focus on every day, and they take a quick action on that. And how we do that? So now there will be a question that Tanvir, there are different technologies. How do you understand? So if you see this here, on the left-hand side are the different technologies. There is the endpoint, network, firewall, email, backup. So if you know that Sophos has around 15 to 16 technologies, which is still, there in the existence, and we have most of the products. So initially, when we started our business, what we did was, we used our product, our technology, started training our AI with the different technologies, events, and alerts. And slowly, once we saw that, that the AI is working well, we started to ingest the telemetry of other OEMs. So the other OEMs are, other than Sophos, if you have any other OEM firewall, email, endpoint, you can, and if it is supported. So because the AI needs data to be trained, so that's where we have a list of supported OEMs. And once that data comes in, we pass that data. Passing of data is to understand the data, so that when our team, or when it goes via AI, the AI understand that data. So it passes, correlations are there, enriched based on the attack data. We prioritize that, and then the SOC works on it. So now if you see, this is the response time of Sophos, that from an attack to remediation, 38 minutes. So this is what our team average is. So based on what we have seen, the services which we have offered to our customer, the MDR services, we have seen our average time is close to 38 minutes from detection to investigation and remediation. That's how we work. And this, what you see, the 30 minutes is as per Gartner Cyber Security Business Value Benchmark data. So as per Gartner, it is 30 hours. The way the team works, okay, it's mentioned in the internal SOC team, because of less exposure, tool understanding. There are multiple things which are there in the report, why the internal SOC is slow, because they just see that threat vector or this threat attack surface management of their organization, wherein our team sees this globally for different customers, different verticals, different size, different attackers using different techniques. So we have the entire idea of what is the next action they are going to take, and that's why you see that the investigation and detection time is quick, and the remediation as well is faster, because once we know what the technique the attackers are going to use, we accordingly we put remediation to the customer, that these are something which you need to make sure that it is enabled on your central dashboard. So benefits of having a services, that is the MDR services, is you can read that. Reduce cyber risk. So you saw that incident which I showed you live. Okay. ROI is better because business time would not, your business downtime would not come into picture because the attacker would actually be isolated before it could go to an extreme level. So that's where the business ROI is better with Sophos MDR. You don't need to have a team. We have a team monitoring 24/7. You can focus on your businesses and your priorities, and you can, make sure you put all your cybersecurity related uh, monitoring to us. You can offload it to us. So that's what the benefit is all about. So let's see on the service inside. So these are the offerings what we have on the Sophos MDR, the essential and complete. So as you see here, there are two product line to offer. The essential is for customers who are not using Sophos. Okay, so a customer who uses a different technology altogether, like for an example, if you have invested in another OEM firewall or an endpoint, it's absolutely fine. There is no issues. You can go for an MDR essential wherein we will be monitoring, containing the threats, proactive hunting, everything is available for you. And if it's a Sophos house where you have a Sophos agent installed on the servers and the endpoints, you can go for an MDR complete. So that's the benefit you would have with the Sophos Complete. Now, Sophos Complete gives you a breach protection warranty. Now, why have we put this is that sometimes what happens is that the customers, feel that we are spending for a service which is, a premium tire services, and, we are spending so much. What is there of OEM, so if there is an attack, what does the OEM lose? That's where the breach warranty has come into picture, that we tell you that there is something which we have invested in you. If we flutter and we don't, give you a result on time, this breach protection warranty, would come to play, and, we'll pay you if, we go wrong somewhere. So that's what it is. IR retainer services, wherein if you feel that you go for an MDR essential, and because you don't have the full investigation capability. To take an example, you go for an MDR essential and you need a full scale investigation, which is not part of it, a digital forensic, right? So you can go for a retainer services where you can just pay little as of now. And when there is an attack and we do the mitigation, and when you need a full scale investigation report, the retainer services will come into picture. So if you see here, I'll just zoom in, and if you see here, you can see that discount on hourly emergency, extended example on-site ransomware negotiation, digital forensic. So say for example, you're not using a Sophos, there is an attack, you want to do a ransomware negotiation, you can use these services for that. Digital forensic, I just spoke about the full-scale incident response. So this is just not what we have mentioned. The portfolio is big, but just in interest of time, I thought I'll just show that. Managed risk is a services which is bundled along with the MDR. Now, this is more on the proactive part, that we will give you an visibility of these are the assets which are vulnerable, exposed to the internet, or maybe on premises. So you know that these are the juicy point where the attacker can come and attack and sit in your network. So you can quickly patch them. We have a service product, sorry, in which is the identity threat detection response. As you saw the slide, the initial slide where we said the cybersecurity threat attack vectors are evolving. Now the attack surface is evolving. That means now people are going to Enter ID, which is cloud-based identity service, right? So that's your attack surface, which is now gone on cloud for identity, which is open to all. Earlier, AD was in your office, no one could reach it, but now it is on cloud. If any small, identity credential gets leaked, access is always available if it is not configured well. So the ITDR gives you a full visibility on how it is configured, data which has been leaked, is it breached by in any of the breaches which has happened globally. So it shows that these are the credentials which were breached earlier, and your password matches to that breach data. That means it is high risk. The password is still active, any attacker can use that. So that's what it shows. There are multiple things we can maybe connect and sit and discuss on if there is a requirement for an ITDR. NDR, if you remember, I spoke about the legacy operating system. I spoke about hypervisor Nutanix. You cannot install agents on these systems because it's a legacy operating system, or maybe an hypervisor where you cannot install. The NDR monitors the east-west traffic. So you must have heard about east-west traffic is nothing but machine-to-machine data transfer is called east-west traffic. So NDR monitors anything which is happening east-west. collects that information using the AI. It tells our MDR team there is some suspicious communication happening between these computer or computer to server, or maybe an unmanaged device, could be anything, an access control or a VC which can get compromised, and from there a communication is happening. So the NDR, sorry, would give an alert quickly. So these are the add-on services which you can call device encryption. After COVID, we saw businesses are going for device encryption, and the good thing for you is if you have our agent installed, the Sophos antivirus encryption can be part of the same agent. MDR, everything can be part of the same agent. You don't have to install any additional agent for that. So that's the beauty. Advisory services, I'll speak on this on the later slide. So we spoke about mostly all of the service offering. The only thing is data retention. By default, when you buy a product of Sophos, you get a 90 days of data retention. If you have a compliance, you need to keep data beyond 90 days. You can buy the cloud data retention, which is available for a year. So this is what I was talking about. If you're not a Sophos, stop. Absolutely fine for us. Any vendor of which you see here, the list is we've just put the well-known, but the list is long. So any third-party vendor you have in your environment, if you plan to go for a Sophos MDR, please do contact the VersaTech team. We'll come analyze your network and we'll tell you that yes, these all things can be part of the monitoring services of Sophos. So it's not that sorry, it's not that you have to have a Sophos install everywhere, but yes, if you don't, still we can, come and give you that particular capabilities. So a question comes in customers, that what all offerings and what are the response. So this is not a monitoring service only. We response to attack. Then I'll not read through everything, but you can see, what all things they do when there is see an attack on the computer. So just imagine terminate process. If they see someone running CMD with a bad intention, they'll terminate the process. If they see someone is trying to, connect, you saw there were certain IPs which they were connecting to, right? So they can block this on the host IP address. So these are the advantages, which is on real time they see, they block it. Okay, so that's how they do it for an attack. So a live attack happens, and it's not just restricted to what you see here. There are more capabilities where we offer. Now there'll be another question here: how would they get access? That is my environment. How are the MDR getting access to my environment? This is because you have given that particular authority to my team that yes, if we are not available, please take action on my behalf. So there are different levels how you give the threat response authorization to our team. Like if you have a team working 24/7, you can say collaborate. If you have a team which is there just during office hours, you can say collaborate and authorize. Maybe after office hours, we'll try to reach your team is not available, we'll take action. And the other is authorize. Whenever you see anything happening, business hours, non-business hours, you're authorized to take an action. So that's what the authorized action would take. So what you see here in the response mode actions, when you authorize and if they see something happening at that extent, they would take action on your behalf. So how do they disrupt attack? Deleting artifacts, sorry, terminate processing, disabling an user account if they find, removing scheduled tasks. This is for persistence. They make this start up again, clean up registry. So these are something which they make sure that, if we are detected by these, entries which are there in the system, they can connect remotely or maintain the communication after reboot. So that's how, the attackers usually plan. And our team are aware of, as I said, they understand every threat actor's techniques, behaviors, and they know what they do for persistence. And that's how, they make sure that these things are also being taken care of. So we spoke about the, what the industry says about Sophos MDR, Foresters, customer reviews are very important. So every services, is it's better you hear from the customers, and that's where if you speak about this services, the customer are actually happy with Sophos MDR. They have seen when they need that this service the most, the team was there, it responded on time. So that's the benefit you have, and this is not what I am telling it. It's the global customer reviews on this particular platform. You can see it on their websites, Gartner's and G2. So what is the session takeaways for you? No product lock-in. That means, as I said, you don't have to be a Sophos customer. You can reach out to us. We can understand your environment, and based on that, we'll make sure that we align the best available solution for you from the MDR point of view. Unlimited incident response, third party. Also, there is no restriction. Whatever we support, you can integrate in the product. Threat intelligence, it's a proactive services, so get advisory data from us. So any global attack on a particular application will send an advisory to you. Threat intel, that's how it leverages the threat intel on the particular front from customer. Playbooks and next-gen SIEM. So the XDR data lake is acting as a next-gen SIEM playbook. You saw, the analyst take action on your behalf. Okay, so there are certain playbooks which are there, like when there is an attack, the machine gets auto isolated, and that's how the team works, and they take an action. So 4.9 was the rating which we had from the MDR services from the Gartner Peer Insight in 2024. These are the services we spoke about, the advisory service. These are some proactive services, and this is something which you can go for any time, and this is the need of the hour. So any services which you expose on the internet, you need to do a penetration testing. So we have a team who are, well trained. They participate in competition like Black Hats, DEF CON, to check their expertise and talent, that how good they are when a challenge is thrown to them. And every time, when we have participated, we have been in the leaders. So if you go on our website and if you see our team are scaled, they are from a different, a vertical like FBI or, the CBIs of US. So they are there, and, they have the expertise. They are from different verticals, and they know, how every vertical needs to be attacked from an advisory point of view. So that's how the advisory services work. So you can, go in for these proactive services. Internal penetration testing is checking the machines in your environment. Wireless, all customers use wireless. So we'll check how good your wireless is configured. Can an attacker compromise and get into it? So this is what it is. And your web applications, APIs, if you are planning to do a pen test for that, that capabilities are also available. If you are an MDR customers, we have a service. This is a human-led services. All you see here is done by a human. Okay. These are services where we use Tenable product, and this is part of your manage from a MDR. You have to buy an add-on managed risk services. This is a tool from Tenable which would do a continuous scan on your environment. This is external attack surface management, internal attack surface management, where we will scan your external assets as well as internal assets, and it will show you that these are the assets which are at high risk, so that you can quickly take action on it. So portfolio for you to quickly review what all things Sophos can offer right away. So for customers who want to check their footprint on dark web or with respect to threat, we have an option for you which we called threat profiling of an organization, where we do an assessment of your organization with respect to domain squatting or lookalike domains, email address leaked and available on dark web. Okay, this is part of the same breaches which are there. Any breach which happened recently, and we can find your data there, we can tell you that. Or your IPs are exposed to the internet, any external vulnerabilities found on that particular which you are not aware of, so we can show that to you, so that you can. So this is more of a proactive, so you can be ready and can patch that server. So this is something which will offer free. There is no charges for this, so you can reach out to VersaTech team. There are certain information which I would require. So if you are interested, you can reach out to VersaTech team. Okay, I'll share that data with them. Once that data is with VersaTech, it takes 7 hours for us to scratch the dark web and get all that information from there. Once we have all the information from there, we'll share a report with you. We have services, to make sure that this doesn't recap on your environment and you have that visibility. So once we find something, we can have a discussion on how this thing can be, taken in a here for you. So that's it from me. So any questions, happy to answer. You can put it on chat, or maybe raise your hand. And, however the format is, Bhavesh bhai is there,
Yeah,
so
so
we can take the questions ahead.
there are a few, Tanvir bhai, if you can open a chat or if you want, I can read for you.
Yeah, no problems. I can just take few. First, talk about what solutions suppose offer in term of IPN. So there was a question that can you first talk about what solution Sophos offers in term of IP and licensing model, etc. So in terms of, so our licensing model is based on, from the endpoint point of view, it is more towards end user licenses. So we'll tell you on the, how many systems you have. So the end user system, say for example, it is around 30 or 50 or whatever it is. And according to that, we'll give you licenses that, okay, now you have 100 computers, buy 100 license of the endpoint XDR or MDR. So that is how the licenses would all be counted. And then the other is everyone, please. Okay. Yeah, I can only see no more questions, I think
I
so.
have a central Sophos management.
Okay, I have a
It's
central Sophos management cloud software. I need to run a health checkup report. Please advise where and how. So see, Mr. Rajesh, there is a particular, if you see on the dashboard as you log in, there is an option of health checkup, right? So in the health checkup itself, you can actually see your tenant's health with respect to protection, configuration, exclusion, and how is the security on the endpoint enabled. So that helps there. So you can look at that particular part. If you want, to have it done by an expert, you can connect to your partner. Partner can review it for you, and it can, the partner will tell you, okay, see, these are some configuration mistakes, which will be part of it. If you go for an MDR services, the MDR services does it for you. You can, if say for example, you have Sophos Central with MDR, you could put an email to MDR saying, I want to do an account health check. They do an account health check for you. Then after the account health check is done, they supply a report to you saying that these are some things, the corrective action we need to take. But for now, if you want to do it by yourself, Central has that capabilities. If you want that someone expert helps you, you can reach out to your partner now. So what is the trial period? It is 30 days trial period when you activate the XDR. MDR, there is no trial as such. Okay? And there is a question from Satish. I understand about your services, but not about your product offering. Do you have AV, firewall, SIMs, or etc. from the brand, or you will your solution integrate with any of these? Nee. So what we tell Satish here is that, see, one is we have our own solution. So if a customer has Sophos, it is, we can actually integrate with Sophos and do it. But if it is not Sophos, as you saw that diagram where I showed different OEMs, like for an example, Fortinet, Palo Alto, Checkpoint, WatchGuard, whichever brand we support, the customer can use our MDR. We can integrate currently with their particular third party. We'll pull in the security events. Once the security events are there, the MDR team sees that particular thing, and we can take action. So now on the SIM and SOAR part, the SIM and SOAR part, Sophos has acquired a company called SecureWorks. If I'm not sure if you have heard of that, it's almost a year now, and we are working on converging the platform. So customers where we see the requirement of SIM and SOAR is there for the customer, we usually put that particular customers on that platform, which is ready now as I speak, with a SIM capability and a SOAR capability. Now that platform also has a similar capabilities where you can integrate any third-party AV, non-Sophos, any third-party firewall, non-Sophos firewall. We will pull all the telemetries from that particular firewall, and then based on the rules which you have created in SIM to pass the data, or playbooks in SOAR, that would come into action. So around this year, we are planning around May and June to converge both the platform into one. So all these capability which I just told you are available in SecureWorks platform would be part of Sophos Central then. I hope that answers your question, Satish. So please post. Okay. So there is someone who has raised his hand, Mr. Ishwar, Bhavesh bhai.
Yes, sir.
Um,
I'm from
yeah, we unlocked
Vedanta.
their voice. Yeah, Ishwarji, please
Yeah,
ask.
I'm from
Yes.
Vedanta Jharsuguda side. So actually, I have one question. This MDR agent, can we install in server as well along with the endpoints?
Sorry, so the MDR, yeah, absolutely. So for an example, if you have a third party antivirus, okay,
Yes.
and you want
Yeah.
to install the Sophos, yes, you can do that. So what you can do is you can actually keep your agent, but we need to know which agent it is because there are list of agents, which we support and which we don't. So once we have that
Okay.
list of agent, we'll tell you, okay, this is supported. You can put our sensor along with your agent, and my team, would monitor the sensor. Plus, we'll integrate your endpoint console to Sophos MDR. So all the detection
Okay.
which are there on that console would come, as well as our sensor would also be there to make sure that we are monitoring it.
Okay. Thank you.
So
Perfect.
the response part which our MDR team would do, Ishwarji, would be taken care with that agent which we install. That is sensor. That is a sensor.
Okay. And also, dark web monitoring and threat intelligence facilities also available in MDR, right?
It is there, but it's a different SKU. So the essential which I showed, na, the essential and the complete that doesn't have or included. But yes, we have that capabilities. As I told you on the threat profiling part, we have a different team which takes care of services. So there we can do it for you, but that's available.
Okay. And another one question from my side,
Yeah.
as you said, for NTR, all the add-on security you tell na that all is paid basis or what?
The
Add-on
integration.
securities. Yes, add-on securities.
So see, the add-on securities, which is the manage risk or ITDR are add-on, okay, which are available for you is, say for an example, you have invested in a technology which is there in your computer, like for example, Veeam backup or a
Yes.
Fortinet firewall, that
Mm-hmm.
you can integrate. We'll not charge you anything for that. But the identity detection and response and a manage risk is something which is a new offering to you. That means if
Okay.
you have an asset and you want to check what are the vulnerabilities in that asset, you will have to buy manage risk. But if you tell me, Tanvir, I have, these security technologies which are installed in my environment and which is part of the supported list, I'll tell you, Ishwarji, please integrate it. We'll not charge you anything on that integration.
Okay. Okay. And another one question also, XDR and MDR is there, but I can't see EDR also. EDR is fully missed from this agent.
Correct. So EDR, the reason why you don't see it in trial is because if you enable XDR and you don't integrate any third party, it actually initially acts as an EDR. That's why you don't see a different EDR wala SKU. But
Okay.
recently, just recently we have introduced an EDR SKU. So for a customer, like for example, you are planning to go for an EDR, okay, you can buy that license and then you'll only see
Okay.
all the telemetries coming from your endpoint. So that's there now. It has started from last 2 months. We initially used to sell XDR, and you should tell the customer that just if you're not integrating any third party, it works as an EDR.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, sir. That's all from my side, sir.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Satishji, you can also speak and probably ask. There's a question from Satishji. Satishji, would you be able to speak or we unmuted you, Satishji?
Hi, can you hear me now?
Yes, we
Yeah,
can.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hi. It's a pretty good session then where thanks for this and
Thank you. Thanks
thanks
a lot.
Bhavesh
Thank
for
you.
arranging this.
Thank you.
So I'd like to little more understand about technical aspects about how the data, I mean, let's say you say okay, you can integrate with any other third party solutions, okay? So in that, I'm sure you develop some connectors and all, but do you get data? Do you process the data within your system, or is it you directly look at the source system to find the kind of different threats?
Okay. So you're trying to say that when there is any third party which is integrated, how we do the identification of threat, correct?
That's
In short,
right.
just to
That's
answer.
right. That's right. Do you
Correct.
maintain data locally in your system? Let's say in your application, do you have some local data lake or something? Or, I mean, that's in summary question.
Correct. So for now, I'll answer it in two ways. So as I told you that we have acquired a company called SecureWorks. Okay, but first let me answer it from a Sophos point of view. Then I'll answer it from a SecureWorks point of view, and I'll tell you why I am answering it with these two aspects. Now, from a Sophos point of view, what we do is, Satish ji, yes. So if you heard me, I've always told that whatever products my AI is trained, we can only integrate that as of now. So when I say trained, that means, see, every technology has, for an example, we take an example of a firewall. Now, every next generation firewall would generate an AV alert and an IPS alert, an ATP alert. There will be different types of alert which it will generate, and with every alerts, there will be different level of priority, and that's how we have trained. Now, what we do is when you integrate your particular firewall with our collector, we do the validation on the source itself. That means we only and only are now taking the security incident from your devices. So once you integrate, our AI, once the data comes to us, now your firewall sending everything to us. Now we'll see that, okay, these are something which are needed. We'll take the security event and the metadata. Now, when I say metadata, it is the timestamp, IP address, source port, destination IP, all are the metadata which is attached to that particular attack, and that flows to the Sophos Central. So on the Sophos Central, the data, what you would see is a refined data, which is validated by our AI. Now, as I said, we have trained our AI based on that technology. So it knows that what needs to be, what will stay back and what would go to the Sophos Central. Now, from the next generation SIM point of view, so if you see SIM ingest everything, and the actual, I would say processing of data happens not at the source, but at the destination where the data is dumped. So the SecureWorks would take everything when you go for a SIM, dump everything there, whatever data gets passed and stored there, irrespective to security, non-security, then you can write your playbooks and detection rules there in the platform, and then you can drive. So these are the two different platforms. So as I said, by May, you'll get that capabilities in Sophos Central as well, wherein you can decide what you want to take, everything or only security related data on the platform.
Got it. I think this is good information. Can you talk a little more about your threat intel? I mean, do you get some feeds from some sources, and how is your threat intel currently is working?
Good question, Satish. And it is actually relevant, because if I am talking about security, this is a very relevant question. And I'll just take you back. So if you see the Sophos journey, now we started, it's almost 41st year for us. We started our business as an OEM to other OEMs. So we have strategic alliances, but now because this is recording, I cannot take name of the OEMs, but the other OEMs who are there in the existence are using our engine, like our
Okay.
AV engine, our reputation engine, our malware engine. So all the, like for an example, a biggest two players in email are using one of our threat intel and AV. So now you can recognize which are the two big players, right? Who are
Yes.
using our engine. Just these two particular vendors. So same way we have 150 industry leaders who are using our engine. This is one source of telemetry from where we get, the rich telemetry source. Second is we also have our own, honeypots which are there globally. Third is we have tied up with SecureWorks. So they also have their counter threat unit, which they call it as CTU, and we call it as Sophos Lab. So from there as well, now we are getting telemetry. Fourth is our MDR services. Now our MDR services sees different payloads getting hit. Now, for an example, the live case which I showed you in this session, if the MDR team sees a similar attack, whatever payload comes to them from a latest attack, they put it to lab. Lab does a reverse engineering. So now we also have a latest telemetry from there. So live attacks, what my team sees, that payload goes along with all this, data which is getting. So this is how it leverages, and the threat intel platform, gives you the, on time and proper detection and faster detection of threats.
Great. Good to know. Good to know, Tanveer. Probably I'd like to have an offline discussion, a lot more
Sure,
deep dive into this through Bhavish's team. Okay.
sure. Happy
Thank you.
to answer that, Satish. Thank you very much. Thanks for your questions.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other question?
Think so.
I think,
Questions.
yeah.
So maybe we can maybe
Yeah,
international standard
absolutely.
for.
So, 10 more minutes, everyone. First of all, yeah, thank you so much, Tanvir bhai, for the insightful session, right? And for the clarity on articulating how Sophos Advisory Service and MDR help organizations strengthen their cyber resilience, right? So we spoke about how cyber resilience today goes beyond deploying security tools, right? It requires a clear understanding of security posture, strong governance, and the ability to detect, investigate, and respond to the threats, that too 24 by 7, right? So thank you. I can't thank enough to you, Tanvir Bhai, and the audience to ask this question. Now, before we close, we would really appreciate your input. So, I'll be sharing a screen again with a quick 2 minute survey. So if you guys let me share my screen. So if you please spare 2 minutes, there will be very quick questionnaires. Is the screen visible? Looks like it is. Okay. So if you can, please go to the menti.com and enter this code. There'll be a quick survey. Post this survey, we also have a quick quiz, just a few questions, and based on which is going to obviously based on today's session, and this is purely for engagement and probably any key takeaways. Yes, we will have exciting prizes as well. So I'll just hold for two minutes for this survey, and then we'll start on the questionnaire. Perfect. Looks like Tim is almost done. So it's a quiz time. I'll go to the presentation mode. Is the quiz screen visible?
Yeah, it is.
Perfect. Perfect. So again, the same thing, scan the QR code, or if you can go to the menti.com and enter the code. It is just 5 question quiz. Yes, it is fastest finger first. So you need to obviously respond correctly and respond quickly. Uh, so yeah, if you can go to menti.com, enter the code 7579-2216 or use the QR code. Hopefully, participants have scanned it. Let me see. Okay, we've got 8 players. Guys, please. Uh, there's a code displayed here as well. You go to menti.com and enter that code. Perfect. Please put in your name so that our backend team can reach out to you for prizes if you win. I'll go back 1 quick second. Yes, if you again want to scan the QR code, you can do it from here. Perfect. We have, yes, the player count is increasing. Maybe 4 more. Guys, let's reach to 20 at least. So then it will be a close competition. Tanvir bhai, you please don't join.
Yeah, I was just waiting that I had to quit now.
Okay, to respect everyone's time, let us start. So guys, keep looking at your phone screen. You can look at the screen which is shared as well, but you have to respond via your phone. So I'm starting the quiz. Okay, here is the first question. What is the primary objective of Sophos MDR? Is it to replace all existing security tools? Or there are few more options? Okay, so almost everyone got it. Yes, this is an testimony. This is the testimony to Tanvir Bhai as well as how clearly he has explained. So well done. Let's see who has actually responded the quickest. Okay, Mr. RK, Mr. Sunil. Amazing. So we got RK. So we'll have three prizes at the end. For now, RK, Sunil, and Rutu Kumari are on the list. Let us go to the next question. Again, right and fast. Which challenge is most commonly addressed by Sophos Advisory Services? Wow. Again, more than 80% on the right side. So let's see again. It is the speed. Okay, Sunil sir coming on the top. Moving to the third question. There are only 5 questions, so this is a midway. Why do many organizations struggle to achieve effective 24/7 threat response internally? Is it because security tools do not generate alerts? Or, there are 3 other options. Okay. Yes, it is lack of skilled resources as we've discussed, and the alert fatigue, right? Okay, last 2 questions. Well, great going, Sunil sir. What is the key benefit of combining Sophos Advisory Services with MDR? Yes, improved security posture with continuous monitoring and faster response. Oops. Oh, the leaderboard has changed drastically. Now the last question. Again, fastest finger and the correct answer, yes. From a CXO perspective, cyber resilience primarily enables which outcome? Yes, it is business continuity and reduce operational risk, right? So let us see who made it to the top 3. Okay, congratulations, RK. Then we have Ritu Kumari and Harsh Sutaria, the top 3 people. Our backend team will reach out to you and share the prizes. Amazing. So we'll stop here. Thank you once again, everyone, for your interaction. Tanvir bhai, can't thank you enough for the wisdom that you shared on Sophos Advisory and in general how the threat needs to be intelligently taken care of. So thank you, everyone. Thanks.
Thank you, everybody. Thanks for your time. Bye-bye.
Bye.